Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Kaden Custodio. How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Of course, I know about it seems like an eternity ago, but a couple months ago, of course, graduation happened at Hartland. Well, so what have you been up to?
Yeah, ever since school got out, I've just been working. I've got a job, essentially construction, doing handyman stuff. So I've been doing that with a few friends, and that's been going well. But outside of that, I've just been up at the weight room actually out in Hartland High School, helping out the football team, making sure they get everything set up, checking people's form, especially the freshmen, make sure everything's looking good, and just helping out with them. So that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Yeah. So I know that I think it was fully intended that you were going to continue your football career. You were committed to when did you commit to Concordia?
I committed to Concordia probably about January-ish,
Yeah.
mid-January, I'd say.
So obviously, part of that, but obviously if you've been following the news regarding Concordia Ann Arbor as well as the entire Concordia system, obviously they've run into some financial trouble. Obviously there's been rumors about, the campus possibly being sold or partially sold or big time cuts. But at the time, back in February when this was, actually, I'll just let. So, kind of talk about what happens when the news first came out in February that Concordia might be in some trouble.
Yeah, so it was tough when the new because I should start by saying this. Concordia for me was the perfect fit. There was no school really that could fit what I wanted to do any better. It's close to home. I could play football. The coaching staff was awesome. The football program is fabulous. And it was a really good academic fit for me on top of all of that. I could go and do a 3+3 doctorate of physical therapy program there, which would get me my doctorate of physical therapy in 6 years, which is incredible. So it was just the perfect fit. So when news started coming out in February that they might have to cut stuff or shut down and stuff, just aggressive terms being thrown out right from the start, it was tough to hear, but I believed in them so much that I was willing to stick it out for a little bit. Then came a point, though, a little bit after that, about a few days after the news first started coming out, where my family and I talked and we kind of thought it was in my best interest to keep my options open because you never know what could happen. And after all that, when the dust settled, we were told that everything was okay there, that nothing was, for the most part, nothing was going to change. There might be some slight cuts here and there, but nothing major. So we were set, and I actually went to my orientation there. So we were 100% of the belief that everything was perfect. I was gonna be going there this coming fall, and I was gonna be playing football. I thought I was gonna have my first practice on August 4th, I believe, or the 5th, one of those 2 days, and I would be rolling. But then more news came out, and that news, unfortunately, as a lot of people probably know, is that there's been some major program cuts. Tons of programs got cut or got switched to online. And on top of that, the bigger one is that all sports are closing after this year.
Yep.
All sports are shutting down. And that was a tough hit to me because obviously I really wanted to play football there. Well, now you can play for this year. You're not playing after this year.
Yep.
And on top of that, it was a little scary because how am I supposed to feel secure when they keep cutting more programs? It felt like daily is what it felt like. And so really to me, it came down to a question of security because if I'm going to a college, especially with what I was going to do, I was going to be there for 6 years. And if I'm unsure, if I'm unable to be 100% sure that the college will still be there and I'll be able to do my degree 2 years from now, it doesn't make sense to go there, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
that's where that decision came from.
Well, and especially, you hear constantly, the rumors, as I mentioned earlier, that the campus could possibly, be sold and all that
Hmm.
stuff. And obviously we don't know what possibly could be coming next.
Hmm.
But so going through that and, but now you're in this decision. You're not playing, you're not going to be playing football at Concordia.
Hmm.
But before we talk about where you're going next,
Hmm.
I mean, this is going to be, you didn't know it at the time, but you played your last down in football.
Yes.
Was that obviously anytime anything major happens, it is tough at first, but nothing lasts forever. Everything's got to come to an end.
Mhm.
But what was that like for you to handle? Because it's tough on anybody.
It is tough. It was very tough for me to deal with because I looked back and I was thinking one day on my drive home from work actually. It just kind of hit me then. Wow, you are never going to play another down of football again. And that was a really tough realization, as you mentioned, because football has been such a big, crucial part of my life for so long now. And I almost couldn't imagine myself not playing again. But at the same time, it's like you said, everything eventually ends. I knew my career in football was going to end after college. It just came sooner than I was expecting it to, which is obviously unfortunate. But I mean, the realization itself was really tough, but I feel like I have a lot to look forward to regardless of what was in my past. However, I am beyond grateful that I had the past I had and that I went to Hartland, I played Hartland football, and I think above all, I'm very grateful that I can say my last snap of football was played for Hartland. I think that's something that I'm very proud of. And one of my good friends, the running back on Hartland's team when I my senior year, Kyle Pease, him and I were talking today. We were joking around and about football season and talking about the past and stuff. And then it came up, I mentioned it, like, the coaches always used to say, I wish I could play one more down. And we even kind of like, I'll be honest, we joked around a little bit behind the scenes and we'd say they're crazy, like, no way. It's not that important. No way. But then we followed that up today in our conversation with, wow, they were right. There's nothing like it. There's never gonna be anything like it again. And I would give anything to play one more down. So,
You and the millions of other people, no matter, how, because it's like people 10, 20 years down the road,
mhm.
I mean, you still remember all the games, remember all the suiting up, you wins, the losses, the bus ride to and from. You still remember all that stuff.
Yep.
Years down the road, and you're still gonna remember all the things. It's
Hmm.
um but yeah, I mean, I know obviously the last, I know your senior year did not go the way that you wanted. And obviously, with a brand new coaching staff and all that fun stuff, but
Hmm.
obviously there was some positives that came out of it. I think the win against Howell was probably the biggest one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, so, so I went from like looking back. Now we go to what's next. So what is
Correct.
next?
So I am going to the University of Michigan and I am going to pursue a degree in health sciences and then be applying for the doctorate of physical therapy program there.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, you're going to be in the Michigan system. I know
Hmm.
it's, whether you're going to the Flint campus, the Dearborn
Hmm.
campus, main campus in Ann Arbor, wherever you may be,
Hmm.
you're still in the system. But um, what's what's that going to be like to go there and take that next step in your career?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I mean, first things first, I'm still repping blue and gold, so that's definitely an awesome plus to that. But I mean, it's gonna be an adjustment. High school to college is definitely an adjustment, just like middle school to high school was an adjustment. But it's gonna be different because I won't be playing football. But I mean, I'm looking forward to my next steps. I think they're gonna be great. Michigan's gonna be a great time. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna hopefully learn a lot there and apply that to my career. So looking forward to it.
I think I should probably go in. You know the colors are maize and blue. I don't know if you knew that, but but to go, and I know there's a lot of people that have always wanted to go in there. But what's that
Mhm.
be like? Are you living on campus? Are you staying at home? What are you doing?
So I am commuting because it's only about 30 minutes away.
Right.
And with that means that I'm obviously a lot closer to Hartland. So I'm actually going to be, because it's very hard, I think, for anybody, like you previously stated, to just poof, football's gone. It's done.
Yeah.
Because that's honestly not the reality for most people. So
Um,
for me, the previous 2 seasons, my junior senior year, I coached a first and second grade football team. So I am now this year actually going to be offensive coordinator for the third and fourth grade football team. So the same kids is moving up with them. So I'll be coaching. So being a commuter to Michigan is going to be nice because I'll be close and I can go to the practices. I don't have to worry about missing anything, and going to be it has a lot of benefits. And I won't downplay that living on campus also has benefits because it definitely does. It's just for me, it makes a bit more sense to commute.
so I mean the biggest thing is also, whether you're 8 or 88 years old, you're still gonna you still there are people that will enjoy this sport for their entire lives.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it
So
is.
um that's why I'm still here. So, but obviously taking a new role and taking a new approach, it's I know it's going to be weird not putting shoulder pads on, but just trading in shoulder pads for the headset. So
Yeah.
it's obviously, getting, still coaching and stuff. Do you see
Mhm.
yourself doing something like that in the future?
I do. I do. I think that for me, even this past season, I was obviously a player, but I saw myself oftentimes I don't want to say in a coaching role, but I felt almost like at times I was one of the coaches just because I always felt like I was very helpful in teaching. And if because I mean obviously there's a lot more players than there is coaches. No matter how many coaches there are, there's always going to be more players. So they can't catch everything. So I always found myself when they couldn't catch something, they were watching something else, I would go and help somebody else and be, hey, your step needs to look like this or just stuff like that. So yeah, yeah, I definitely do see myself in that type of role in the future for sure.
So, so here's the other thing. I know you've been on a little bit of a journey here. The last time you were on here, you looked a lot different, and you look a little different now. Um, I know I know it's always exciting to see, yeah, anybody, I think you've lost a ton of weight.
Mhm.
Well, how do you feel? I don't
Well,
think I need to mention that because that's a lot, that's a big step for a lot of people.
yeah, so I guess I'll clarify to everybody watching. In November, end of November, even well, I guess it was more mid-December. Mid-December, I was weighing in at 230.
Yeah.
And by March of this year, and till now, obviously, I am 180. So that's about 50 pounds of loss. And it's like you said, how do I feel? Well, I got an answer for you. I feel great. I'm a
Yeah.
lot happier all of the time. I've got a lot more energy. It's definitely been, it was quite an awesome journey for me. I was lucky enough to have a lot of support from Coach Ches at the high school. He taught me pretty much everything I need to know to get to this point. And what's even more impressive to me is that my strength didn't go down from losing that weight, and it actually went up. And I have to totally credit that to, again, Ches, because he helped me a lot and was able to somehow, some way get me to lose 50 pounds and end up stronger on the other side. I mean, it feels awesome. I mean, you can probably see how much I'm smiling, giggling. It's a great feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So, is it gonna, I mean, I know practice is in a few weeks. How, what are, you know, is it weird not doing the things that you would be doing this summer?
It it is weird. I was talking to my mom actually a few weeks ago. I was saying, wow, this is really the first summer that I'm not doing something for football almost every day. And I later realized that's not really true because I'm still with the football program almost every day anyways.
Well,
But
yeah, but
I'm not part of the I'm not part of the
you're not a
team this
player
year.
anymore.
I'm not a player is what I'm looking for. Yeah. So it's felt weird. It's felt weird, but there's obviously there's not there's a lot more minuses than there is pluses of the feeling, but there is some slight positives here and there, but I guess it hasn't been the best feeling not getting ready for a season, but I've had some, like I said, some coaching things that are keeping me ready. So
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Caden, thank you so much for coming on, and we may need to have you on again sometime. Always been you've always been fun to talk with. So
appreciate it.
appreciate you coming on, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me.